So I'm actually going to start off by ripping chunks off the bottom of my sponge to prep it for a nice bruised texture. But I'm actually going to start using the other side of the sponge, the thinner side, so that I have better control of my product for this part, because I'm going to be basically lining the socket of his eye, and I'm starting off with purples and reds. I think I started off with a purple color, and I'm just kind of, as you can see, I'm kind of lining the socket of his eye there, because that's what bruises naturally do. I actually looked up pictures of real black eyes for this, and I kind of followed exactly how the blood kind of releases itself under the skin and how everything bruises and starts to heal over and stuff like that. So I highly recommend you doing that as well as look at real life pictures. So all I'm doing here is I'm layering purples and reds, and right here I'm actually going in with black because I'm going to start deepening that to really start to give it that black, that really deep black eye look. And I'm focusing the majority of the darkness on the inner portion of his eye, because that's what black eyes kind of naturally do. And then just kind of fading it out. And as you can see, I'm using my finger a lot because we are using grease paint. So I'm using my finger to really blend that out because it really warms it into the skin. And then as we get to the outer portion of the eye, I'm using lighter colors like the purples and the reds. And then I'm just going to keep layering all those colors until I like what I see. And then here I'm just making sure that I get on top of his eyelid, because if it were a natural black eye, like a real one, the blood vessels will have kind of bursted and they would have kind of bled out under the skin across the eyelid as well. So just making sure that I do that as well. And then just taking the larger side of my sponge that has that bruising texture, and I'm just adding some yellow around the eyes. So this is 3rd degree silicone molding compound. What this is going to allow me to do is it's going to allow me to build up some skin around his cheekbone, because I'm going to create an open wound on his cheekbone. And this is going to allow me to do that. The most important thing when working with this product is that you don't want to cross-contaminate the two jars. So whenever you're mixing part A and part B together, you want to make sure that you use different spatulas when scooping out of each jar, and that you never ever use the spatula that's touched either A or B in the opposite jar. Does that make sense? So you just don't want to cross-contaminate the products, because it will completely ruin your product and waste your money. So with that said, what you'll want to do with this product is mix equal parts A with equal parts B and mix it together until you like the consistency, and then you'll be able to mold it and shape it into whatever you want it to be. So here I'm actually using the handle of one of my brushes, and I'm just beginning to lay that product down and using a brush that I don't care about ruining to actually smooth out the edges. I'm just making sure to use a silicone brush to smooth out the edges, because it'll glide the product down a little bit easier. And I'm just going back and forth between using the handle of my brush to apply the product and kind of move it around, and then using my synthetic brush to kind of flatten the edges so that we get that nice clean transition. And now I'm just going in with that same sponge that I was using earlier, and I'm just laying down some yellow color first. With this, we're going to be working with the lightest shade to the darkest shade, and we're not going to be using any black on this one. So I'm first just going around that wound, focusing the majority right outside of the wound, but actually not directly on top of it. I'm going to leave a little bit less product directly on top of the wound that I created, because it would look a little bit more natural that way, but I still am adding like that irritation. So here you can see I'm layering the reds, and then I'll go in with a little bit of purples, and just going back and forth between all those different products using light tapping motions just to slowly build up that product so that I can really control it. And now I'm starting to bring it up onto his temple a little bit, and just layering things until I like the way it looks. And this is the finished look. I hope that you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope that you learned something new. I'm so excited that it's Halloween. Tell me what you think of this, and I'd love to see you recreate it at home. So tag me in all your pictures, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye. You can see the inside of his cheek.
Oh. That does look really gross. You're pretty good at this. It's like I don't want to touch it. No, I'm really nervous. I can barely look this camera in the eye. This is harder than talking to girls. Make my face into a butt. Well, I might as well get out all my beef with everyone right now that I'm on camera.
Go ahead, tell them.
My life's pretty awesome right now. Sucks to be you.
Do you feel insecure?
No.
In front of the camera?
I'll just make bedroom eyes at it. The whole time.
Don't squeeze your eye.